Could we schedule another time?
When are you free to meet talk this week?
I would say Friday morning.
I'll make sure to give you a call on Friday morning then. Thank you for your time, and I wish you a wonderful day.
Hey everyone, today's video is a little bit special. I'm going to show you how you can build your own AI recruiter who will run interviews on your behalf. I'm going to go over a use case where I'm going to be hiring people to organize the next Iron Man happening in Hawaii. Now, if you've never heard about the Iron Man, it's an ultra triathlon where you swim for an hour, bike for 6 hours, and then run a marathon. It's a very extreme race. I had the chance to take part in it last year, and I was really shocked by the number of people involved in logistics. So the goal of this tutorial is going to be to build an AI recruiter who could automatically hire all of those people. If you don't know me, I am Vlad. I'm the founder of Elements Agents. We build AI agents for clients who want to turn their services into software. If you're also an entrepreneur and you want to get a free audit on your workflow, you can just book a meeting below. I'm always super happy to nerd out about automation, product building, and distribution. So really don't hesitate to reach out and I'll be happy to help. All right, so let's go back to our tutorial on how to build an AI recruiter. So over the course of this video, I'm going to show you how you can use the platform Bland.ai. Bland.ai is a platform to build voice agents. I think that Bland is the best platform out there because it's hyper realistic. The voices are very conversational. It's very modular, so it allows you to create different pathways and different flows depending on your needs. And then finally, it's very easy to integrate your voice agent into another agentic workflow. So if you are to use AI agents elsewhere in your process, you can very easily integrate them with your voice agent. So over the rest of the video, I'm going to show you the key components that make up a good Bland workflow. We're going to go over a tutorial, and then I'm going to do a quick demo where I'm going to show you how the agent interacts and what's happening in the background and the kind of information that you might collect. All right, so the key feature of Bland is that it works with pathways. There's nothing groundbreaking about that. If you were to run a call center, you would probably have scripts where people would have to follow specific branches depending on the conditions and whether they were met. I guess you've already experienced voice agents, and traditionally they are very rigid. They're not very conversational, but Bland really nailed that by integrating LLMs, which allows the agents to be a lot more creative when it comes to making the chat very conversational, in capturing the insights from the conversation, and also in figuring out the next steps to take. So let's go over what it means exactly over a specific workflow. All right, so this is the pathway of this tutorial where I'm going to be hiring the head of logistics for the Iron Man. So there is a starting point where I'm actually going to introduce myself and ask if the applicant is the right person on the line. Then I'm going to ask questions to the applicant to see if there is a fit. And then finally, depending on the different scenarios, I'm going to hang up or try to schedule another call if the applicant is not ready or isn't available to go over the questions that I have. One concept that is important to understand in Bland is that you have different actions that you can take throughout the workflow. And so every action is also called a node, and there are different types of actions that you can take, meaning that there are different types of node. So in this case, we have the first node where I'm introducing myself, where the pathway is starting. Then I have different conditional nodes, which is the default node that you can see here. Then you have the end call node, which ends the pathway. So you have different points in time throughout the workflow where you should end the call. Then you have the knowledge base. So if you have the user who's asking something that is not directly in the workflow, you can always refer back to some specific knowledge base. Then you can have some custom tool. So if you are to build a pathway where you actually need to go into your CRM and look up some information, this is where you would be doing the integration. And then the webhook is also if you want to get information later on from different prompts that you can also call. And for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm not going to have time to go over every single one of them. However, we're going to go over the three major nodes or actions. So there's the default node, there's the knowledge base node, and the ending call node. Let's get started. So if we go to the first node where I start the conversation, you have a prompt. And so the prompt can either be static, meaning that the agent will always say something very specific, or you can have a prompt to kind of nudge and tell the agent the kind of information that it should extract, how it should behave. Here in the first node, I'm introducing myself, I'm reminding the applicant the reason of my call, and I'm also double checking if it's the right person on the line. And then the condition to move on to the next step is as soon as the user has confirmed whether he or she is the right person on the line, then we can decide where to go. Here, what's also interesting is that you can extract from the conversation the first name and the last name, and you specify to the LLM or the voice agent in this case how to extract this information. You can provide examples. I'm going to show you later on with more complex cases. So let's say that the user then responds negatively. So here you're indicating in the description, choose this path if the person on the line isn't the right person. Then the agent is going to apologize and just hang up. Or if it turns out to be the right person, which hopefully is the case most of the time, a user confirmed that they're the right person on the line, and then you can move on to the next step. So the second step here is where I'm going to remind the user again of the application to make sure that everything is very clear. And then I'm going to ask him or her whether they have 5 or 10 minutes to go through the couple of questions that we have to decide whether we should move on to the next step, is to see if the user has got time. If it turns out that the user doesn't have time, then we have this conditional path where we're basically trying to collect a time and a date when the user will be able to have another call. So determine the user's availability for a meeting or a call. And then this is where Bland really shines, is that you can specify how to extract this information from the call, and it does work really well. So if the user says, I'm available in 2 days, on Thursday, 2 a.m., 3 p.m., whatever, it's actually going to extract this information that will be stored and that you can reuse later on. So if you want to have a follow-up conversation, launch the AI agent on that time again, all of that will be possible. Now, this is the most exciting part of the workflow. Assuming that the user is the right person on the line, that the user has got time to answer a couple of questions, this is where the interview is going to happen. So in this case, I'm going to ask a user about a specific experience that he or she mentioned in the resume. Here, I'm just sending dummy variables where the experience is head of procurement for 5 years. And I'm basically going to ask the agent to gather as much information about that specific experience. The agent is actually going to be looking for leadership experience, about the negotiation strategies, and also about the ability of the applicant to handle tight deadlines. Then all of that information is also going to be extracted from the call. So here I'm specifying, okay, extract leadership traits, anecdotes about his leadership experience. Then I'm going to do the same for ability to meet tight deadlines. And I think this is like the most groundbreaking feature of Bland, is the interview is going to happen, and then depending on the answers, the agent is going to infer what belongs where. So the agent is going to figure out the set of questions to ask and then populate those fields that we're going to reuse later on. So if you actually want to keep a human in the loop who doesn't have time to do those calls, but you still need that expert eye on reviewing the skills, then you can just have someone to go through the fields, the Google Sheet or in your CRM, to then evaluate every applicant individually. You can send that also to the hiring manager for feedback. You don't need to take notes or anything like that. What else? Then there's this other node where I'm basically asking the user if they have like any additional questions. And generally, as you can imagine, in an interview, it doesn't always go as planned. They might have more questions about the role, maybe forgot what the company does. So here I'm allowing the applicant to ask more questions about the Iron Man in general. And this is where the knowledge base node becomes very important. So here I created this node called Iron Man knowledge base, where I consolidated all the practical information about the Iron Man, which gets vectorized. What it means is that the agent will be able to ask questions to that database. So in this document, I added what the Iron Man is all about, who are the potential participants, dates of the events. So if the applicant has got any questions about the role of the company, you would be adding all that information in this knowledge base. This allows the conversation to flow a lot better, to clarify any questions, and to make it more realistic and helpful to the applicant. What makes this node quite powerful is that it's a global node. What it means is that it's accessible to every single default node that you see here. So every time the agent has got a question about the Iron Man, it's going to look up the information in the knowledge base, and then it's going to go back to the last default node. So whether the applicant has got questions here about the Iron Man, or there, or here, or whatever, it's always going to go look up that information and then go back to where it was. So it's never going to lose track of the conversation. The agent is not going to lose sight of the objective, which is to ask questions to the applicant to see if there is a fit about the role and to collect additional information about leadership, meeting deadlines, and negotiating with vendors. Then finally, the last node, like I said, is ending the call. So you thank them for their time and just inform them that you will reach out. Then you can obviously integrate all of the transcript, all the information from the variables about the leadership skills and so on to your application tracking system, to a CRM, or depending on your use case, anywhere you want. That's pretty much how it works. Now I'm going to go over the code and show you how you can incorporate it into your existing operations. All right, so let's hop over cursor. And by the way, all the code that you see here is actually available directly on my GitHub. You can reuse it, but it's very straightforward in this case. So here the request is to the endpoint v1/calls. You are passing a unique pathway ID. And so basically every time it does this request, it's going to kickstart the conversation. So in this case, I'm providing the context. So just like I showed you earlier, you have a first name, last name, role, years, and experience. So all of these dynamic values will be passed in the workflow. So in our case, the agent is going to first ask if it's Michael Porter on the line, that he's applying to the head of logistics, and his relevant experience is this head of procurement role that he had and shared on his resume, where he spent 5 years, that we will want to actually investigate a little bit further in the workflow. So here is just different logs that I'm printing out, but you can see that you have the call status started. Here I did an example with the name of a friend, but I'm introducing myself as Vladimir, the head of the Iron Man Organization. So this is just the transcript. And then as you can see, it's tracking all of the information that you can then reuse. So here in that case, I said I'm actually not available to talk, but then I specified, okay, I'm actually available on Thursday. Then the agent asks, okay, what time on Thursday works best for you? Then I said 2 a.m., which as you can see, it was like 11:30 p.m. So I was a little bit late, but then the agent was actually quite smart and said 2 a.m. is not an ideal time, but I'm going to call you at a more reasonable time on Thursday. So the agent decided that it would try again, and then it ended the call. So that's pretty much how it worked. Now I'm going to do a live demo with you to show you how it works really in practice. And yeah, let's go. So let's start. So now I should be expecting a call. Call created, successfully queued. Okay, so I'm getting a call. Let's pick up.
Hi, my name is Vladimir. I'm the head recruiter for the Iron Man Organization in Portugal. I'm calling today with regards to your application for the head of logistics role at the Hawaii Iron Man event. Can you please confirm that I'm speaking with Yon Yahemdi?
Yes, that's him. How can I help?
I wanted to touch base with you regarding your application for the head of logistics role at the Hawaii Iron Man event. I'd love to ask you a few questions to get a better understanding of your background and what motivated you to apply for this position. Do you have about 5 to 10 minutes to chat with me right now?
Actually, I am quite busy right now. Could we schedule another time?
When are you free to meet talk this week?
I would say Friday morning.
I'll make sure to give you a call on Friday morning then. Thank you for your time, and I wish you a wonderful day.
This is basically the transcript of the conversation. As you can see here, as I go towards the end, I would say Friday morning. I'm sure to give you a call on Friday morning. And so this is going to be registering in the relevant variables that you can then reuse in your application tracking system to then follow up again on Friday. So I'm super happy about this tutorial. I am a big fan of Bland. I think it ticks all the marks of what makes up a good voice AI agent. It is very realistic. The latency is very low, so that means that the agent can speak very fast. It is flexible. As we saw, the LLMs make it very dynamic in finding out which paths to take. It knows how to get the things done, but also keeps the flow going. So it's going to look up for the knowledge base if it needs to, but then it's going to go back to advancing in the flow so that it doesn't go in like an endless loop, which is a bit of an issue with other voice AI agents. And then finally, this is not something that I have really touched on, but you can actually fine tune the results. So you can provide like a true or false, or whether you're happy or not happy with the results. And so as you try it out, then the agent is actually going to learn how to improve. And then obviously, the last thing is that it's going to communicate all these variables. So the salary expectations, the time when the applicant is going to be available, all of that information, you'll be able to then integrate it with custom tools into your CRM application tracking system. You can also transfer calls to humans. So you can really keep humans in the loop, which I think is one of the key stress surrounding AI agents. And here it's very easy to maintain humans in the process and keep your business personable. If you want to reach out, you can audit your workflow for free with me. Just click on the calendar link below in the description of the video and in the comment section. Otherwise, feel free to check out all my other videos on how you can build AI agents with Crew AI, how you can automate your prospecting. I have lots of other use cases. If you want to go over them, feel free. And yeah, that's it.